Hey everyone, it's Theresa and I have such a fun video for you today. Easy farmhouse stuff and it's a collab. I can't wait to tell you about her and let's go ahead and get into it. So first we're starting off with one of these gorgeous arches. It is from Hobby Lobby. It's a little bit on the pricey side, I'll admit. As long as it's on sale, it's around $16. But it's really large. Now, first thing I did is I went ahead and coated the entire thing in the Folk Art Wood Tint in Walnut. Now, obviously, you can do it whatever color works for you, whatever you like. I didn't do it too terribly dark, and I wasn't overly worried on how accurate I was, because it was really hard getting in between everything. And now we're going to, of course, distress it. We're just using some of the plaster colored paint from Waverly. And I'm really just brushing it on. I ended up going a lot heavier than you see here, just because I was like, it feels like it just needed a little bit more. But that's okay. It's all kind of just depends on what your preference is. You distress however much you want or how little you want. So there it is. Once I've gotten it all distressed down, now I'm going to take my little finger sander. This little guy is from Target and I love it. I'll link it for you below just in case you want to pick it up. And don't mind all the headshots. Basically, I'm just going to go over anywhere where it seems a little too stark. You know what I mean? Like the white is too much on it. And it's really going to help blend it all in. Again, this is all preference. Do it if you want to. I even had a couple of spots where I went really heavy on it and exposed a little bit of the wood. So it's all really personal preference. Depends on however you want to do it. And once I'm done, I actually did this for quite a while, so I was just thinking like, well, let me show quite a bit of it, obviously. And then once we're done, here's just kind of shows you the end of it. Like I said, it really, not really dulled down the white, but it definitely, blended it in. And then we're going to clean up with our handy dandy little vacuum Ladybug. That's going to be linked for you down below too. That stuff got everywhere, so it definitely needed that. And here is a wood cutout. That is also from Hobby Lobby. I just did a full thick coat of the same paint, that plaster from Waverly. And now we're going to go in and distress it with the wood tint. So see how everything's kind of tying all in together? I have actually never used this wood tint to distress. So I was like, you know what? I have a gray one from them that I've used to distress and I really liked it. And I was like, you know what? Let's give this a try. If I don't like it, I can always paint over it. So I took a stencil brush from Dollar Tree and just kind of lightly brushed it. I didn't, obviously this wood tint is wet. It is a very liquidy substance. So you want to go really light when you're first going in with it. You know what I mean? That way you're not ending up with big plops like the one I just did. But that's okay because it's so wet. You can really brush over it real quick and get it blended. So that way it, blends it in however you want. And I felt like I needed a little more around the perimeter of all the letters. So I got a much smaller brush and kind of started, almost like outlining the letters because I wanted them to really stand out against this arch. And what's really cool, I decided I wanted to make it to where I could switch things out on this arch. Obviously, I love the blessed word, but I want to be able to do other things too. I'm going to tie in some of these flowers. I don't show how I do it. I really just tie them up and stick them on the sides of the blessed sign, and then I tie it to the window. Yeah, as you'll see right here. And it looks gorgeous. I absolutely love it. So if you're new here, my name is Theresa, and as I mentioned, I am collabing today. I'm collabing with Emily from Farm Charm Chic. And Emily has just the sweetest videos. If you haven't seen her before, you're definitely going to want to go check her out. And I really wanted to highlight one of her videos because she made an arch window. You can see here, this is actually a little clip from her video because I know, like I said, it was $16 for the one I bought. Obviously, that's much easier because it's already made for you, but we don't all have, a Hobby Lobby or whatever. So I wanted to throw this in here. I'll have this video linked for you as well as her video she's making today. So you can check her out. And if you want, also check out this video where she shows you how to make one of these arch windows. We're going to get back into our DIYs. I'm going to use 2 of these trays from Dollar Tree. Now, these obviously were from Christmas, but I'm going to just get this Rust-oleum paint all across like the perimeter of this bottom one. We're going to use this for the bottom And I'll show you what we're going to do in just a second with these little beads. These came, I want to say, from Walmart right around Christmas time too. And we're just going to glue them all around the perimeter. So this way it's going to be nice and steady. It's not going to go anywhere, and you're going to do that all around it, or you can, space it out however you want. Once I've done hot glue everywhere, I'm going to take this E6000 and I'm going to pull it all across all of those beads, because you know how hot glue does not always like plastic. So once that's finished, we're going to jump on to the next one. This is another one. We completely coat it with that same Rust-oleum chiffon cream paint. And now I've got a piece of paper, just regular paper, and I've taped some tissue paper to it, and I printed out Home Sweet Home on it. I actually saw this from Jamie from Simple Roots Simple Living. I think she found it from somewhere, and I just absolutely love how these projects just like evolve from person to person to person. So it just, go check her out. I'll have her linked for you below as well. And then around the edging of it, I didn't want it just to be straight, so I am just tearing it up. And of course, I end up tearing one of the letters here in a second, but that's okay. We're just gonna, see, there it is. I was like, well, you know what? It's gonna be rustic anyway, so no worries. Once we're done with that, see, here's that top tray that is just painted. We're just going to douse too much Mod Podge in here in a second. So I was like, oh, let's just go, coat it all nice and down and pour. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? It never fails, right? It's like if you pour it because you think like, oh, that'll be easier just to pour it. And then you pour like half a darn bottle of Mod Podge. But that's all right. So I just smoothed that all over. And then what we'll do is we're just going to place that printed on tissue paper, which I will have the printable available for you. It's linked down below. It's actually just in a Google Drive that I've set up for when I want to share stuff with you guys. Once you're done, and I think I have it set to print at like an 8x10. Once that is down, I do, of course, do a coat over it, let it dry completely, and now we're going in with the Folk Art Antique Wax. And I'm just going to do kind of some distressing. Again, it's just up to your preference. However you like it, you do as much as you want. I went not too terribly heavy. And see, I had a little bit that was hanging over, so I just, trimmed that down. Here it is once it has been completely finished with the distressing, and now we're going to distress the beads. I'm not going to show you all of it to you because you get the idea. Once that is finished, I'll take that same E6000 and now I'm going to put it down on the beads on like the back side of the beads. Like basically like you see where the holes are, I'm going to just put the E6000 along the perimeter of the back. I hope that makes sense. I think so, but you can never tell. And then I'll of course also take some hot glue just so we can get a little bit of that immediate hold. Same thing, just running it all around. That one I tried to focus more on where the bead was, like the hole of the bead. And we're just going to plop it down. And what's nice is it's not hard to center it. Here it is all finished. I just absolutely love this one. Now we've got another sign from Hobby Lobby. This one was a little less, and I'm so sorry, I cannot remember how much it was. I'll link it for you down below if I can find it. And I've got some Cricut not Cricut vinyl, but I've got something I've printed out from my Cricut. And what I'm going to suggest, if you get any of these like pre-made, pre-cut wood signs or whatever from Hobby Lobby or anywhere, clean it off. This thing was so like dusty that I could not for the life of me get this get this vinyl to stick. And then I used my same piece of transfer tape over because I like to reuse. I'm not going to say I'm cheap, but I'm going to say I like to reuse. And of course, I ended up like hardly being able to get it to stick because of all the dust. I did wipe it down before I put this one down. So I learned my lesson at least a little bit. So, and of course my O didn't want to stick. So I was like, okay, I'll just put that one down by itself. So we're just going to place that on here. I'm just going to, of course, try to make sure it's at least mostly straight with my, my nice little handy dandy ruler. And then I'll fix the O after, of course. We varnish it, we stick it, I fixed my O, and I felt like it needed a little bit more. So what we will do is we're going to find the center point. This whole thing on the inside part, like the little inside square, thing is 22 inches. So I find where the 11-inch mark is. I give myself a nice little dot just so I have a basic idea of where the middle is. It's not going to be perfect, and I'm okay with that. I'm all right with it being imperfect. It's rustic. That's usually my explanation. It's rustic. And we're going to also add a little bow. This is actually going to my sister-in-law, and I asked her if she liked it like this. She wanted a bow, she wanted something different, and she said she wanted a burlap bow. So that is what's going on here. And it actually already even has the hardware on the back, so makes it super easy, effortless. You just basically decorate it the way you want. So we are going to take a quick look at how it turned out. As you probably figured since you just saw it, here's the ending of it. And I wanted to show you this one. It's really funny. It's super easy and quick. This is just one of the Dollar Tree shadow boxes. It's one of the newer ones. They actually have the wood planking kind of thing on it already, and it just has like this cute little definition of farmhouse-ish. I'll have that linked for you below. I just printed it up on a piece of cardstock, and now I'm just distressing it with that same antique wax. And if you can't see what it says, it's basically something along the lines of, it gives you like the definition. It's a noun. It's like a farmhouse, or a house on a farm without the barn, yard animals, without the barn, and basically without the actual farm. I felt like it was super fitting because Emily legitimately lives on a farm and she loves farmhouse, and I love farmhouse, but I legitimately live in Orlando. So I was like, well, this fits really well for me, so I'm going to just hot glue that little piece right on there. It had a little spot to put it in everything, and it fits my stuff perfectly. Now, I wanted to let you all know, if you're a creator, I'm hosting a challenge. I'll have all the details listed for you and what video to go check out. Do not forget to subscribe if you are new, and I'm going to include a little oops clip for you. I haven't done one in a while, from something I tried to do with that tray. I've actually done it before. You'd think I'd learned my lesson, but I didn't. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. That looks awesome. Great. This isn't gonna work. Bad choice. Oh no. What didn't I learn?